folks, and welcome to Movie Night. I am your host, your old pal Bernie. Now, before we go any further, I just want to take this opportunity to wish everybody out there my best. I hope everybody is staying safe and healthy at this time. I hope you're taking care of yourselves and taking care of others. Now, in selecting a film to spotlight, I considered many different methods, and then I just scrapped them all and randomly picked a video off the shelf. So this ought to go great. What are we watching tonight? Okay, so this is Blind Rage from 1978, described on the internet as a blaxploitation kung fu comedy thriller. It doesn't really star anyone of any particular note except for cult film legend Fred Williamson.
I got the loaded this morning anyway.
And Mr. Personality himself, Leo Fong.
All right, let's get on with it.
Brace yourself for blistering kung fu action and for a devilishly daring plot to steal $15 million. The US government has transported this fortune in cash to a secret bank vault in Manila for use by anti-communist nations in Southeast Asia. 5 determined criminals have their eyes on the loot, and all of them happen to be blind. Being blind, the band is suspected by no one. And with their combat expertise, incredibly developed senses, raw courage, and, most of all, blind rage, they might just pull off the crime of the century. Filmed on location in Hong Kong, Las Vegas, Tokyo, Manila, Mexico, and Los Angeles, Blind Rage stars D'Urville Martin, Leo Fong, Layla Hermosa, and the great Fred Williamson. From the treacherous underworld of the Orient to the climactic rooftop battle in LA, this film is a blinding blast of relentless fury.
A chance in your life you'll find in a dream when you realize you're lost with your schemes. The moment of truth reflects in your eyes. Today you begin, tomorrow's your life. We live in a world of heartaches and pain, and somehow you feel life's just but a game, so dare not say why. You have to survive the moment you fall into the system.
My boss needs you for a very important job.
Can it be more fun than selling a piece of ass?
So as I said in my introduction, I did not put a great deal of thought into selecting tonight's video. And in retrospect, perhaps I should have.
I think you're nuts.
After reading the plot synopsis on the back of the videotape, I became obsessively intrigued by one simple, glaring question. Why would anyone plan a bank robbery using blind people?
How can blind guys rob a bank? Now I've heard everything.
The plot of the movie is simple and straightforward enough. A bank in Manila is holding $15 million as part of the United Nations efforts to prevent further damage to Southeast Asia after the fall of the Vietnam War.
Durant, you will be responsible for the money once it reaches the bank.
A representative of the bank, a slick cat named Johnny Durant, gets commissioned by a shadowy organization to steal the money using a team of specially trained thieves. As with any great heist movie, we are treated to a recruitment montage followed by a planning/training montage. The heist goes off almost without a hitch. One member of the team is caught and interrogated, and the rest of the team die while trying to escape the country. The ringleader Johnny is the only one who gets away, but he's eventually arrested in the end by Fred Williamson after a climactic rooftop finale. Now, as I said, internet databases describe this movie as a blaxploitation kung fu comedy, but it barely deserves to be called that. While it does feature a couple of kung fu fight scenes, neither is very impressive or extensive. And it doesn't become anything remotely resembling a blaxploitation movie until the last 10 minutes when Fred Williamson shows up.
Crowder, good luck. Luck ain't got nothing to do with it.
It's an easy enough watch, but it's not a great film. It's not even entertaining in a so bad it's good way. The script is flimsy, poorly thought out, it has bland dialogue, precious little character development, and it has these huge logic gaps, which just took me out of the movie almost as soon as it started.
No one would ever suspect 5 blind men holding up a bank.
Let's begin with the premise itself upon which the entire movie is built. We are first introduced to Johnny, who, as far as we know, is just a guy who works for the bank.
Introductions are in order.
Johnny Duran, the Oriental Bank.
He doesn't appear to have any criminal record, nor does he appear to have any inclination to rob the bank before he's approached by this guy named Wilbur.
My name is Lou Simpson. Most of my friends call me Wilbur.
Simpson, what's your game?
Says that he represents a very powerful organization.
Now, we're interested in that money, and we're willing to pay you for your services.
Johnny agrees, in part because Wilbur says that he has a, quote, foolproof plan.
We might be able to do business. Your idea better be foolproof.
So what is this foolproof plan that convinces Johnny that he has to take part in this robbery?
The men actually performing the job are blind.
So the big question is, why in the blue hell would you use blind people to rob a bank?
That's the key to the foolproof idea.
What would the possible benefits be to using thieves with such a glaring handicap?
Whoever heard of blind men heisting up a bank?
Surely the likelihood of your plan succeeding would go up if you used people who could, see?
Well, you'd be surprised what a person can do with just a sense of touch and a sense of sound.
What's even more perplexing is the nature of Wilbur's proposal.
You're now the mastermind of this heist, and you better start making plans to execute it.
Yeah, you heard that right. He basically approaches this guy out of nowhere and says, "Hey, Johnny, I'm Wilbur. I represent powerful people. You don't need to know who, but trust me, they're super powerful. And we want you to help us steal the $15 million that's in the bank you work for." Johnny says, "Sweet deal. You got a plan?" Wilbur says, "Plan? Yeah, we got a plan. We got a foolproof plan. We're gonna use 5 legally blind guys to steal the money. Oh, yeah, and you probably have 0 experience in doing this, but you're gonna have to plan the entire heist. Oh, by the way, I can only give you the names of 4 blind guys, and you're gonna need 5 to pull off this job, so you're gonna have to recruit the 5th. Oh, and also, the 4 guys that I do know about, I haven't actually told them about this job and what it entails, so you're gonna have to go out and recruit them."
We'll meet with you tomorrow to discuss the recruitment of the 4 men.
Also, you're probably going to have to train them for a while, so you better find a safe place to hold them up for a couple of weeks before you pull off this job. You know what, now that I'm thinking of it, you probably have 0 experience training blind people to do anything, so you're also going to have to recruit a person who can teach the blind guys how to carry out the plan that you've come up with. Is that not the most insane proposal you've ever heard in your life? Why would anyone in their right mind agree to such a thing?
Okay, you convinced me.
I guess Johnny knows that Wilbur is legit. I mean, after all, Wilbur's got this guy, Rocky.
Rocky, my main man,
And Rocky knows things.
has in his file and in his head more than 500 names.
He knows things about people's bowel movements.
He knows the size of their bank accounts, the time of day when they take a crap. He's a very important man in our setup.
It's an important skill to have in any criminal organization.
Now, who are the guys that are going to pull the job?
Fortunately for Johnny, the recruitment process is the smoothest I've ever seen. Johnny simply approaches each member of the team with an envelope full of cash, and that apparently is enough to convince them to do the job.
Okay, I'm listening.
Even though he doesn't actually mention any details about the job, and nobody bothers to ask.
How would you like to change jobs?
What's the deal?
The deal is money. Lots of money. All you have to do is follow instructions.
Lots of money? Okay, I'm your man.
That was easy.
They don't even ask if the job is risky at all.
Are you looking for work? Sure, why?
Bear in mind that not all the people that Johnny is recruiting are career criminals. One of them is just a bullfighter. The other guy is a magician.
But don't stop looking. Continue. Because, again, things might change.
The magician had just finished doing a set when he's approached by Johnny. If I was the magician, I would assume that Johnny is hiring me for some kind of showbiz gig. I wouldn't naturally assume that he's recruiting me for something illegal. I guess we're just meant to assume that everybody who exists in the world of this film possesses loose morals.
How would you like to make a lot of money?
A lot of money? How much money?
Since nobody seems to have any problem at all with the prospect of committing a felony.
Yeah.
Even the blind teacher, that's a woman who is not blind but who can see, but who trains people who are blind. Even this woman, she seems barely put off at all by the prospect of committing a major felony.
Rob a bank? That's impossible, Mr. Duran.
Not if you cooperate. And remember, the sum of $100,000. It's a big chance for you.
Now, the middle portion of the film is dedicated to the planning/training montage. This is usually the fun part. This is where we get to know our team. We see some funny interactions between the team members while they're planning the heist. Maybe we find out about their backstories. Maybe we find out, something to make us invested in their characters. Maybe even grow to sympathize with them as they carry on with their mission and they pull off this dangerous heist. Instead, we get none of that stuff.
Anderson will be the first one to enter. Then Hector. Willie and Wang will go in at the same time. Follow the sound of my footsteps.
The training sequence is just 25% exposition and 75% boring.
11 steps from the door is the secretary's table. Okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
About the most exciting thing that happens is when we see what it's like to train blind people to shoot.
You're a little bit short to your right. Try it again. That's better. Okay, fire.
Wouldn't it just be easier to use people who could see? You at least wouldn't be putting your life at risk in the training process.
Any foreign sound you hear, shoot.
Don't move a muscle, or I wouldn't give 2 cents in Chinese horse manure for your life.
So, our criminals carry out the heist, and aside from some minor hiccups, the heist seems to go according to... Oh my god! The heist goes down pretty much according to... Oh my god!
Sorry. I told you not to move.
So despite some minor hiccups, the heist goes to plan. The team pulls it off and gets away clean. But one of the members, a guy named Ben, he gets into a scuffle with some security guards and in the process accidentally leaves his cane behind.
A blind man's cane. Yes, sir.
This one clue tips the police off to the fact that the people who carried out the robbery could be blind.
According to the bank manager, he noticed something peculiar, weird about the bank robbers. Do you suppose they're blind?
It's totally impossible. How can blind guys rob a bank?
So far, it's the only clue we have, aside from the report that they're all foreigners.
All right. We'll pick it up from there.
Yep, some foolproof plan you got there, Wilbur. Took the Manila cops all of 5 seconds to figure that out.
There's in my files a former criminal named Ben Gavard. He is now blind. Find out what he is.
So, in quick succession, Ben gets caught and is subjected to probably the easiest and quickest interrogation scene I've ever seen in a movie.
We are certain you are one of the men involved in the holdup. Now, we'd like you to tell us who your companions were and who the mastermind is.
And he just gives up the identities of all of his teammates and the place where they hid out.
All right. They are Willie Black, Wang, Anderson, and Hector Lopez.
That was easy.
Next comes a high-speed chase to the airport with the criminals hiding out in the emptied-out gas tank of a gasoline truck. What's that?
Hey, my foot! Hey, this place is leaking.
They didn't actually empty all of the gasoline out of the tank.
Hey, the gasoline is coming down. Hey, we're drowning in here. Hey, somebody out there! Somebody out there! Hey, we're trapped in here!
Well, that whole part of the plan seemed poorly thought out, didn't it? Fortunately, before the blind men can drown in the gasoline tank, their truck collides with a jet plane on the runway of the airport, and they explode in a massive fireball, killing everyone, including the blind teacher. That's a woman who is not blind, but who, well, you get the idea. That means that everybody is dead or in jail, except for Johnny, our bank employee turned criminal mastermind who hops a plane to Los Angeles. Since the cops know where he's headed, they get on the phone with the LAPD, and the LAPD sends Fred Williamson to go collect Johnny. Because we desperately need somebody to root for in this movie, and it looks like Fred Williamson is all we can afford.
Good morning.
Tell him I'm here.
And so we come to the final bizarre twist in this film. Fred Williamson plays a man named Jesse Crowder.
You know, Crowder, I don't know why they hired a man like you.
This is actually the third film to feature the character of Jesse Crowder, played by Fred Williamson. The first two being No Way Back and Death Journey, both in 1976.
Please don't kill me.
I'm just gonna bruise you up a little.
I should have killed you first.
Yeah, baby, but you didn't.
Jesse Crowder's in town, and Fred Williamson is Jesse Crowder in Death Journey.
And then after this film, there's a movie that comes out in 1983 called The Last Fight. I'm not exactly sure why the character of Jesse Crowder was shoehorned into this movie.
Because I'm a specialist at what I do, and they want the job done right this time, so let's get down to business.
But for whatever reason, he's there to kick some ass.
Unit 2 to car 1. Unit 2 to car 1. suspect's vehicle has just exited on Sunset Boulevard.
Jesse Crowder follows Johnny as he goes from the airport to the motel and then to meet Wilbur at a secret location. It's here where we get the line of the movie.
Unit 2 to car 1. Unit 2 to all units. It's going down right now at the International House of Pancakes.
The scene then devolves into a foot chase. With Jesse Crowder eventually cornering Johnny on the rooftop of what I can only assume is another IHOP location.
All right, Duran. That's about as far as you go.
There is no way one man can take me alive.
Where they have a very short and very lame kung fu fight.
That was easy.
Johnny is then slung over Crowder's shoulder like a sack of potatoes and turned over to the authorities.
Next time you want some of Uncle Sam's money, ask first.
So that was Blind Rage. Would I recommend this movie? No. It's an easy and fairly painless watch, clocking in at just under 90 minutes. But the script is so thin and full of holes that it's very difficult to become invested in anything that's happening on the screen. There are no sympathetic characters, and there doesn't seem to be any motivation for any of the characters besides money. It would have made sense if they had fleshed out the character of Johnny more. Why does this guy, who seems to work at a bank, turn into such a badass?
I told you not to call here.
But the guys are getting edgy.
I don't give a damn what the guys think.
And you know what? I would have bought Johnny as some kind of badass.
There is no way one man can take me alive.
He's like a Filipino Danny Ocean.
All right.
So that was my look at 1978's Blind Rage. I want to thank you for tuning in, and I hope you enjoyed yourselves. Stay tuned to this channel for more episodes of Movie Night, when I share with you more forgotten gems from cinema's past. And don't forget to check out our Patreon page. What? We don't have a Patreon page? Since when? What's that? I don't actually have an earpiece? What? I'm all alone in here? This is all very unsettling.
A chance in your life you'll find in a dream when you realize you're lost with your schemes, the moment of truth.
Hi everybody, thanks for tuning in. If you want to see more, I recommend clicking on that or on this, or maybe even clicking up there. I guess that's all. Bye.